Stop. Before you clock in today, hear this. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. Not broke people, not lazy people, teachers, nurses, engineers, people making $80,000, $90,000, even $100,000 a year. Still broke every month. Today, we're exposing the salary trap, the system keeping hardworking Americans financially stuck forever. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's how it starts. You land the job. Direct deposit hits every 2 weeks. Feels amazing. Feels like progress. Feels like security. But here's the truth nobody told you at orientation. That paycheck isn't yours yet. It's already been divided up by everyone except you. Think about your last paycheck. Federal income tax, gone. State tax, gone. Social Security, gone. Medicare, gone. Then rent hits, car payment, insurance, utilities, groceries, Netflix, Spotify, student loans. By the time you actually touch that money, there's almost nothing left. And Monday comes around again. This is the salary trap. You're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Grinding, hustling, never stopping. But financially, you're on a treadmill, moving constantly, going nowhere. For 78 million American workers, this is every single month, on repeat for decades. Then something happens that's supposed to change everything. You get a raise, $5,000 more, $10,000 more. You're hyped, finally breathing room. But here's what actually happens within 6 months. The raise disappears, not stolen, not lost, absorbed by a better lifestyle you couldn't resist. New lease on a Toyota RAV4, upgraded apartment in a nicer part of town, more DoorDash, more Amazon Prime orders, more subscriptions. Economists call it lifestyle inflation. Americans call it treating yourself. And it's one of the most dangerous wealth killers in the entire United States. Because every raise you get, your expenses are already waiting to match it. Then credit cards come in to fill the gaps. Chase Sapphire, Capital One Venture, American Express. They make spending feel invisible. Tap your phone, swipe the card, instant gratification, zero pain, until that statement arrives. $1,200, $2,400, $4,800 in balances. Now 24% APR is compounding against you every single month. And social media poured gasoline on the entire thing. Your Instagram feed is luxury cars, Miami vacations, designer outfits. Your brain, even knowing it's mostly fake, starts feeling behind. So you spend money you don't have, to impress people you don't know, to maintain a lifestyle you can't afford. That's not living the American dream, bro. That's performing it. Here's the truth that should hit different. Looking wealthy and actually being wealthy are complete opposites in America. The guy in the leased BMW with $400 in his account looks rich, is broke. The woman driving a paid-off Honda investing $800 a month into index funds looks regular, is building generational wealth. One is performance, the other is progress. Most Americans are so focused on performance they never make progress. And while you're performing, inflation is quietly robbing you blind. Since 2020, American grocery bills up 25%. U.S. rent up 30% in major cities. Gas prices up 40%. Car insurance up 25%. But American salaries up maybe 3 to 4% if you're lucky. You're running on a treadmill that's speeding up. And nobody warned you. Now let's talk about the savings account lie. Most Americans do the responsible thing. Put money in their Chase or Wells Fargo savings account. 0.5% interest. Feeling secure. But inflation is running 3 to 4% annually. You're losing 2.5 to 3% purchasing power every year. Guaranteed. While thinking you're being smart. That's not saving America. That's slowly losing. Here's what wealthy Americans figured out that nobody teaches in school. A paycheck is one source of income. The top 1% of Americans average 7 income streams. 7. Not because they're smarter, because they understood one thing. Trading hours for dollars has a ceiling. Assets don't. S&P 500 index funds. Rental properties in growing American markets. Dividend stocks paying you quarterly. REITs generating passive real estate income. These aren't just for Wall Street. Any American with $50 and a Fidelity or Vanguard account can start today. And compound interest does the rest. Here's the math that should wake every American up. $500 a month invested in the S&P 500 starting at age 25. At historical 10% average annual returns. By age 55, over $1 million. You didn't work extra hours for that million. You didn't get a second job. You just redirected $500 a month from spending to investing. And let time do the heavy lifting. Your paycheck isn't the enemy. Depending on it as your only source of income, that's the trap. Because if that paycheck stops, job loss, disability, recession, company downsizing, everything stops with it. That's financial fragility. And 78% of Americans are one missed paycheck away from crisis. Here's the biggest lie sold to American workers. Get a higher salary and you'll be financially free. No, you won't. A bigger paycheck without better financial behavior just creates bigger bills and bigger stress. The salary isn't the problem. The system around the salary is the problem. Picture 2 co-workers at the same American company. Same salary, $75,000 a year. Same city, Same cost of living. Mark spends every raise. Nice apartment. New F-150. Vacations twice a year. Sarah invests every raise. Lives below her means. Drives a used Civic. 5 years later, Mark has a great Instagram. 0 investments. Sarah has $87,000 in her Vanguard account growing daily. Same income. Completely different futures. This is the psychology behind the trap. Your brain is wired for instant reward. New iPhone. Weekend in Vegas. Fresh Jordans. Dopamine hits immediately. But building wealth? That dopamine doesn't come for years. That delay, that gap between action and reward, is exactly where most Americans give up. And exactly where wealthy Americans stay patient. Wealthy Americans ask a completely different question. Not, what can I buy with this money? But, what can I own that pays me back? Real estate that generates rental income. Businesses that produce cash flow. Stocks that pay dividends. That single question shift, from buying to owning, is the difference between the salary trap and financial freedom. Let's get specific. A $40,000 luxury car depreciates 50% in 5 years. $40,000 invested in the S&P 500 in 2015, worth over $100,000 today. One made the car dealership rich. One made the investor rich. Same $40,000. Completely different destinations. There's another trap almost no American talks about. Time scarcity. You have 24 hours. That's it. If every dollar requires your physical presence to earn it, your income has a hard ceiling. But a rental property in Phoenix generates rent while you sleep. An index fund compounds on Christmas morning. A dividend stock pays you on your birthday whether you work or not. That's the power of owning versus earning. And here's where compound growth gets wild. $10,000 invested at 25 at 10% annual returns. At 35 equals $25,937. At 45 equals $67,275. At 55 equals $174,494. At 65 equals $452,593. You didn't add a single extra dollar after that first $10,000. Time and compound interest did everything. Einstein reportedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Most Americans are too busy buying things to discover it. Every paycheck gives you a choice, America. Spend it to look successful today. Or invest part of it to actually be successful tomorrow. One decision lasts a weekend. The other lasts a lifetime. And you make that choice every 2 weeks. Whether you realize it or not. Notice something about truly wealthy Americans. Warren Buffett drove a 2006 Cadillac XTS for years. Mark Zuckerberg famously wears the same gray t-shirt daily. They're not obsessed with looking wealthy. They're obsessed with growing wealthy. Net worth over lifestyle. Assets over appearances. That's the actual American wealth mindset. Financial freedom in America isn't about hitting a magic number. It's about reaching the point where your assets generate enough income to cover your expenses without you trading time for money. Some Americans hit this at 40. Some at 55. Some never. The difference isn't luck. It's whether they escaped the salary trap early enough. So how do you actually escape? Not with one lucky stock pick. Not with crypto gambling. Not with get-rich-quick schemes. Step 1, live below your means. Consistently. Step 2, eliminate high-interest consumer debt. Step 3, invest automatically every month. Non-negotiable. Step 4, never stop. Through market crashes. Through recessions. Through fear. That's it. Boring. Simple. Powerful. Your paycheck is your starting point, America. Not your destination. The goal is to use today's earned income to build tomorrow's passive income. Every dollar you invest today is a future dollar that works for you instead of against you. That's how the salary trap becomes a wealth ladder. 10 years from now, you won't remember what you spent on Amazon this month. You won't remember the restaurant bills or the impulse buys. But you'll remember the moment you decided to start investing. The debt you paid off. The financial habits you built. Those decisions compound just like money does. The salary trap isn't about your job. It's about the belief that your job is enough. Real financial progress in America begins when you stop treating your paycheck as your only asset and start building income streams alongside it. One stream dries up, you've got 6 more. That's not theory. That's how wealthy Americans actually live. So here's your moment of truth, America. If your paycheck stopped tomorrow morning, How long could you survive on your investments and assets alone? 1 week? 1 month? 1 year? Forever? Drop your honest answer below. Backhand index pointing down. Because that number tells you exactly where you stand and exactly how much work is left to do. Subscribe if you want to close that gap. Because we're just getting started. Money with wings.